for having us.
So the reason why you're here is that you have just interviewed me for your incredible documentary that I know nothing about. And it's called The Girls on the Road. Here's the card, and I'll put the link in there. I don't know if it's going to come out properly. But so tell me a little bit about yourselves and the project that you're doing and what we just did now. Okay. And try hold the mic up. Yeah.
So you have asked us if we had like previous experience on interviewing and doing all these things. No. So our backgrounds are completely different. I'm originally a lawyer, turned into a business consulting, and then all of a sudden we decided to do this project, right? Yeah. And Tassi?
Yeah, my experience in marketing strategy.
Okay.
So also no experience whatsoever with, holding a camera and dealing with microphones and editing and so on and so forth. But we decided to jump on this journey because it's such an important matter to talk about women entrepreneurs that let's do it. And we are doing it for the past year.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. So what's interesting about this is that you come from Brazil, right?
Yes.
And it's not just a movie. It's you're going all over the world and finding women who you find are interesting. And how do you know each other? To start off with, how did you meet?
Yeah, we met in São Paulo when we were working together. So we met there. And then we moved to the U.S., and it has been like 10 years already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were in São Paulo together, and you moved together to work in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
And then you started working on Girls on the Road?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. When we were in the U.S., we were studying. But then we came up with this project, and then we started having this idea of going abroad, going all over the world and doing the documentary, because basically we would go to many events in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. You know how it is. We see lots of startup, it's a buzz, but when we go to events, it's pretty much like a more like male-led companies, unless we go to really like female events, like pitch for women, and that's it.
Right.
And so we start researching, and we focus on pretty much two reports, like the Female Entrepreneurship Index and also the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor for the Women Edition. And we kind of read that in many cases, women don't engage in entrepreneurship because they don't see as many women as role models. So that's how our idea of doing this and going around the world. It's going to be 26 countries and 5 continents, and bringing ideas from business like tech business, traditional business, or social enterprises.
Incredible. This is it's incredible, and it makes me jealous because, of course, you get to also travel the world, and you get to meet incredible people, and mix all of those wonderful things. And it's a very creative kind of a project. And it sounds to me like you have made your ideal work. Right? So how I asked you before, but we talked about money and sponsorship, and so who is sponsoring this project?
Yeah, we are self-funding. I think that says a lot about how much we believe in the need of telling women entrepreneurs stories. So we did a crowdfunding at the very beginning. Yes.
Okay.
But, we raised a little small amount, but it was awesome because it helped us, with the equipment and so on and so forth. But we are self-funding all the way. We have the support of a production company in Brazil, in São Paulo, a PR company, a design company. They are supporting us pro bono. They're not charging us, so they are also led by women. I think it's important to say. But again, self-funding, and now they're going to, we have so much content. We have a preview of the documentary, a sneak peek, that now we feel much more confident to go after grants and sponsors. So, you're starting this phase.
Okay, I see. So now, so you're a nonprofit organization?
Not even an organization right now. We are. That's the whole idea started as a personal project. It has evolved. Now we have so many ideas, to put up a nonprofit or for-profit. We haven't decided on that yet. But the only, certain thing that we know is that we are going to keep working with women entrepreneurship, use this content, have other activities to really keep empowering women, young women mostly, to really believe that they can achieve whatever they want if they want to. I think that's the whole message, the main message behind it.
Yes. Oh, it's so complicated, isn't it? There's so many things. Yes. So because we just talked about it, and when I was talking to you, and I just grabbed them and said, no, now that you're here, I get to have you in my little space here, which is actually kind of big enough, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the people that you've met.
Okay.
All right. So how did you start it? Like, you started in Brazil, And
No.
then, so, okay.
No, we
so
were in
you
the
were
U.S.
already
in the
San
U.S.
Francisco, excuse
Yeah,
me.
so we started in the U.S. and then we went to Canada, Mexico, and then Asia. We were in 5 countries: China, South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore. And then we went to New Zealand, Australia, and then we went to Brazil, Chile, Cuba, 5 countries in Europe: Norway, Russia, France, Portugal, and Germany.
Mm.
And then we went to Middle East, so Lebanon, Jordan, and then we came here.
Yes. So how much time do you spend in each country?
On average, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
So so you've been traveling for how long?
For 13 months. Since July 16.
13 months, 15 days.
Really?
Is
it? How is that? How is that? How is the traveling part for you? What is that experience?
It is super fun, but super hard at the same time because we're
Mm.
constantly on the move, and of course we have now ever since. And sometimes people ask, "Oh, who is the crew? Who is helping you on that?" And it's pretty much we
This is the
interviewing. This is the
crew,
crew.
and this is the
Yeah, we are interviewing. We are
Right.
booking flights. We are booking, the Airbnb. We are doing everything.
Mm.
So it has been amazing, meeting amazing people, seeing amazing places. But of course, it's a lot of work. So it's a mix of
Yes.
joy.
Do you have
and-
time to see where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make time because, I mean, it's also important to understand a little bit of the culture of each country and to, try to get some information of how culture and social aspects really impact those women.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, definitely, we've been spending time, get to know the people, get to know the culture, visiting, of course. But as Fernanda said, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work.
It's very hard. I did some traveling in my life. like I spent 3 months in Africa just backpacking, and another 3 months in India just backpacking. It was a while ago, but and all over India. And you are, of course, India. I mean, they're incredible, right? So I know that the feeling can be. Sometimes it's exhausting, even if you're not doing anything, and you're already working, right? Because you don't have your own home, you don't have your own things, you don't have your own base to be. Really, everything's changing all the time.
Yeah.
It's a very tiring experience, very rewarding, of course. But so, what kind of luggage do you have? Tell me about the luggage.
I'll let Fernanda answer that.
Yeah, because if I would allow her, she would have 10 bags. So it has
Yeah.
to be very, versatile.
Yeah.
It's not like we have high heels or, many kinds of options.
Would you normally at home?
No.
No,
Not really, yes.
okay.
So we pretty much have two pairs of shoes.
2 pairs.
Yeah. One kind of outdoorsy,
Yeah.
and the other one's kind of, can be
Hiking
like hiking shoes, and another one more normal shoes.
Okay.
And very light things. Like we have this, the Girls on the Road
Yes.
T-shirt, which helps. We
That's
are
nice.
pretty much
Yeah. So you
interviewing
like
with
in a
that.
uniform, yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't
But
know.
small, you have a backpack. You have
We have we
because you
start-
have your camera.
Yes.
Your cameras, and you have your big tripod, and you have a
Yeah.
few cameras, right? Of your equipment and your microphones.
So we start the trip with the backpack you see that has our equipment.
Just a
two
regular
backpack, one each.
Yeah.
And then we had a medium-sized bag. It was 13 kilos each.
So very little.
Very little. Yeah, but then when we saw this second phase of when we enter Middle East, and especially now we're going to India and Africa, we thought it would be easier to have backpacks. If we had to
Yes.
walk more.
Not-
So
yeah.
now we change our medium bag to backpacks.
bigger
so it's
backpacks.
even 11 kilos
Yeah.
each.
That's
So
all.
That's all. Including shoes, clothes, and equipment, because equipment
Including
is
the equipment.
yeah.
Wow, that's really, really
Yeah.
basic.
Yes.
Really.
So we have it's nice because sometimes we are asking to go to some event in each country we go, but then we have the
that outfit.
the
You
set.
don't have to think about
yeah,
it.
so we keep using the same one, but because it's in a different place,
Right.
it's cool.
It's
it works.
fine.
Yeah.
I have a friend here. Her name is Rebecca. She works on Zero Waste, and I also interviewed I can't remember her last name right now, who talks about zero waste, and they also talk about having only the clothes that you need,
Yeah.
13 items,
And it works.
even when you live at home, and then give them to Goodwill or donate them, and then get something else, but not have lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah.
So this.
And most of the things that we start with, it's already gone because we have to wash every single week.
Yeah.
And sometimes not like we put like, let's put the white together and the colorful together. No, it's
There's no
everything
white
together.
clothes.
So
Definitely
from like
nothing
3
white.
months, each 3 months, we have to renew our T-shirts.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Now let's talk about the people that you. I imagine that most of the experiences that you've had have been positive. Tell me about an unusual story or an unusual location of somebody that you interviewed.
Oh my God! Well, you're certainly, absolutely right in the first part. We've been meeting amazing women, amazing people in general. But these women that we've been meeting, they are very, very inspirational, and that's the key of the project, of course. Amazing places. I think we keep referring to places in Asia that we visited because it seemed at first so far away from our own culture. So, for example, going to Japan and maybe mostly China was very different, and basic things, day-to-day things that for us at first,
Like what?
like going to the restroom and they still have pretty much the hole.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
the
like
culture.
Potty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That's the culture, and you have to adapt.
Yeah.
And usually we think, like, oh my God, why don't I have a toilet? Right? That's the first thing that comes to your mind because you're
No
used to
reading.
it. Yeah, you were
hard to read.
yeah, yeah. Well, that too, and we felt like, oh my, illiterates, absolutely.
No, what I mean on the potty. I was talking about the toilet.
True. Yes, but that's also the language, and the potty things. Like after a few days, okay, that's how it is.
Yes.
And that's their culture. That's how they used to, and that's fine. You get used to. That's a big lesson that we've been getting from this 13 months.
When we were in South Korea,
Yeah.
we rely a lot on Google Maps, right?
Yes.
So every time we go someplace, we put on Google and let's see how we get there. And the Google said, you take the metro and just stay on the subway and you will, keep going and it's the next station.
Okay.
But what happened is like everybody kind of start leaving the subway. And we were the only one in the train.
Oh,
but
no.
when we realized, because when we say, okay, something wrong, then the metro is going very slow, shutting the lights off.
Oh no.
And we ended up of the parking lot of the subway. And then when the conductor get out and see us, it was like a ghost. I think in his mind was like, what are you doing here? Yeah. But he was very gracious.
Very funny.
So it was like me trying to communicate with Google Translator and then he, trying to, and then when we told that we were from Brazil, many times they say, oh, soccer, and trying very friendly. We felt like we were two little kids because he called our next interviewee and to see where we should be, and he took us to her.
Oh, that's
he
nice.
all the way into the streets and here they are.
Really? So he was very helpful.
Very helpful. Even though we couldn't communicate with words, we were
So that's so interesting. So you don't use like a instant translator on your phone or something like that to speak to people?
No, because we didn't have. I think at South Korea, we didn't have the pocket Wi-Fi, or we didn't have the.
But he didn't speak English.
English,
anyway.
yes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. We tried to translate. We would speak Google Translate and then speak
Yeah.
English and then translate to Korean.
Yeah.
So it was like the communication.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
gonna work.
But they were helpful. So
Yeah.
did you have any bad story? Anything not nice happen?
Just
because
we are.
it's interesting.
We are super
You lost your bags?
optimists. Once, but
Oh,
only
no.
one, only one.
once in 13
Considering that we are traveling
Lost,
each 2 weeks.
forever lost?
No.
Okay.
Days for a
yeah.
couple of days.
We are super optimistic, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
we always
That's good.
everything has been very good. But in Russia, when we are coming from France to Russia, our luggage was lost for a couple of days.
Oh.
So, but then
With the
again,
equipment?
yeah,
With
that's
the-
the one thing we that's a learning.
Yes.
Never more put the equipment because we
yes.
wouldn't be able to interview because our lights
I've learned
were in the
that
bag.
too. Yes.
Yes.
I've learned that too, that when I travel with my podcasting equipment, which I do pretty often, I keep it in my handbag. And so if my and my makeup, so and medicine, things that you really need, like that I know that I won't want to that can't lose. I keep it with me, just in case, even for 2 days you can't be without.
But we have the sticks for the lights, and we think
Yeah.
we are not able to go
That's the
in
thing,
minutes,
they
so
always
we
check
have to.
it.
It has to be in the bags. Right?
Yeah. So I always get checked. It's true. I get stopped for longer, but it's a small price to pay. I prefer that than anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the worst thing that's happened to you in 13 months, then you've had a very good trip.
Yes,
I'm happy to
was.
hear.
But
Yeah.
was our
That was kind of our fault. Yeah, we were naive because we had our a wallet, a small wallet with a little bit of money and our driver license.
from Brazil.
And that was in our backpack, and
So
somebody
it-
opened it and took it. But I mean,
It would take
naive
profit.
because usually, you put it in a safer place. But
Yes.
that could have happened in any place in the
Yeah.
world, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yes,
That's
other
not-
than that, we've been very lucky. Actually, it's been amazing 13 months.
No equipment broken. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You're not allowed, you're not allowed
exactly.
to say things like that. Okay, so let's talk about the women now. What are the differences in? I'm sure they're maybe hard to say, but just off the top of your head, what are the differences with the entrepreneur women from place to place? Entrepreneurials.
It is, it's very hard to say the difference because I think many of the traits that we see in entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurs around the world, it's pretty much similar, like extremely driven, focused, very into like we need to, network. We have to talk to people. We have to ask for advice. All the things that they repeat in one country, they're going to say like pretty much in many countries. What changes is the ecosystem, like the way they have their support system. If they have a supportive partner,
Right,
how
we
we were
spoke
speaking about it,
Mm.
and if they have resources in the country. So let's say when we were interviewing Cuba, it's very hard to find an internet company there because they barely have access to internet. Of course, they would not have. Like we in Cuba,
I
we
didn't
would
know
buy
that.
like a 1 hour card and it's scratched to see the number.
Mhm.
So we would go to like public space to have signal, so we could have access to internet.
Really?
So
people don't have in their offices or in their homes?
now they have more like in the offices, and it depends if you're a doctor. The government understand that you need to research, so you are allowed to have in your home. But like we stay in Airbnb, and the was like three generations, like the abuela, the grandmother, the mother, and the kid, and they would have at work, but not at home.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
because they worked for the government. So at work they would have internet, but
Probably also limited.
yeah, they still have exactly. So there is limits clearly, but for the overall population, they could only access internet, going to public spaces and connecting. So it's hard. It's really hard.
Incredible.
So when you
And-
find like a bunch of people together in a park, they are like seeking for internet.
That's what they're doing.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's so funny because that's such an interesting observation.
And it's interesting because you could say that in an environment like that, for us that have internet at the tip of our hands, like
Yes.
how do you become entrepreneur nowadays not having
Without
access
it.
to internet, right?
I can't even imagine.
But still, this is not stopping the women there, or pretty much anyone there in Cuba. I think that says a lot about their attitude,
Yes.
their mindset.
So what kind of businesses? In
Yeah,
Cuba?
that's another issue on that specific country. The government has a list of categories of business that you can work with. So it's not necessarily like, okay, I'm going to open, I don't know, a laundry or a restaurant. No, it has to be in the government's list. So that's another hurdle that they have to, of course, to adapt. But again, this is not stopping them. So if the government thinks that, okay, right now we need more, I don't know, English teachers, German teachers, okay, now you can open a school. So there is this limitation, but they make the most of it. That's the power of it.
Yes.
And women are
Incredible.
also leading this movement. Okay, we cannot stay here and complaining and keep whining about what we don't have. We have to work with what we do have and make the most of it. So it's a powerful lesson in it.
Incredible.
The one that we interviewed, there's like a kind of a seed of an internet-based company. So she wants to do like a delivery service
Oh,
with restaurants,
food delivery.
food delivery. So she operates pretty much through phone because there's no option, but the people can go to the square to download the menus from the restaurant that she works with, and then they would call. Like you have the menu, it will ask order whatever you want, and then she will call the restaurant. The restaurant will, like all this, because
Crazy.
when they have more broadly access to internet, it will be all integrated. But by now, it's at least like it's the seed of
Yes.
what is going to be.
And she thought of it.
Yes,
She developed it. She is establishing this incredible.
Yeah.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, I think we're talking about Cuba, but that says a lot about other stories that we've been seeing around the world. And I think the main message is these hurdles and the challenges, they are not stopping women of doing it. I think this is so important to say because it's, it's so much easier to stay like complaining or whining and say, I cannot do it. They're not, they're doing it. And we have to keep talking about these stories to show the world what women are doing. That's so important
Fantastic.
to say that.
It really is inspirational.
Yes.
Right? And as you say, the role models are incredibly important.
And they can come from different places. I'm sure that, someone in Germany or in Japan can learn something from a woman in Cuba and the other way around. So these stories matter, and we have to keep telling about them.
Yeah, and especially when we were in Asia, we kind of like have this stereotypical idea that usually women will stay at home, they will not work, and when they get married, and it happens. Like South Korea and Japan was pretty much like this, but they were all saying when you are in China, things will be changed because pretty much the average group that we interview, they are like the one Polish child.
Yes.
So they are super well prepared. Empowered. Like I know that people complain about this adjective, but it's like they were raised to be equal. They were raised to believe that they can do anything. They are very much into technology. They have amazing stories and business, and of course they say this is on the coast, on the big cities. It's not like this if you go into the countryside. But then if you go into countryside in many countries, can be Brazil, Russia, US. It's a completely different scenario. It's not only in China.
Yes, that's right. What about the Middle East? Tell me about our neighbors. We don't get to travel. I can't go to Lebanon, right? So tell me what it was like for you there. I'm just I'm curious to know.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
if I could summarize, amazing people. Was super like an exciting experience, super friendly. We have lots of Lebanese in Brazil, so it was very close to our own culture. Women there, you have the different groups, like the Muslim, the Christians. They are really trying to do different things. So we have women in technology, we have women in biotech, and we have women that use the veil, women without the veil, and they are all also with this mindset that we have to show more women. We have to, keep telling their stories. In Jordan also was incredible.
Similar.
Yeah, we have an interview. One of the women that we interviewed, she has a biotech company that she started like growing in Amman, and when she realized like the entire world maybe not buy from her because she was in the Middle East.
What is she growing?
No, growing her business. She has a cosmetic company.
Okay.
And then like face treatment, acne, and she now has a laboratory in France. Is expanding to Latin America, and she has 4 kids. She says that she has to wake up very early, make sure the kids are good, and she's cooked. She has done everything that she needs to do, and then she runs the business, and she was like a powerhouse.
It was incredible, Lebanon, and maybe much more Jordan, because and they are the ones who recognize they are still a very conservative country.
Yes.
So and they are very outspoken. The women, they are very outspoken about that. In Jordan, like we know we are still in a very conservative, traditional society. But we have to keep pushing. And, we are doing it. We are building our business in different areas. And they know they have to face much more social and cultural hurdles. But again, this is not stopping them. And they want to be role models for next generations. So this is important to say, because when we think about Middle East, especially most Arab countries, there are so many misconceptions and bias and prejudice against them that we saw women with attitude, strong, having choices, being able to make their choices.
That's wonderful.
Of course, we cannot, there's other stories, of course, but, what we want with our project is, to show what women are doing. We know the hurdles, we know the challenges, and we have to keep working to, eliminate them. But in the meantime, we have to show what we are doing it. That's one way that we're going to eliminate the challenges.
Yes, there's a problem with religion. It's the same with the Jewish religion and women who are in very religious communities. I'm not secular like me, or like the secular Muslims are the same, but the very religious communities, the women are having a hard time breaking out. Now in Israel, they're having a lot of more opportunities for Orthodox Jewish women to be business women. And they're incredible women. I mean, they have many children. They have hardships. They're usually not very well. I mean, they really deserve kudos for the work that they do. It's much harder. Their starting point is much more difficult than ours.
Yeah, we interview Shanti Babat. She runs Temeth. Temeth, I don't know how to. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was telling us like how she's like building bridges between these women ultra orthodox and big companies because they're willing to work. They are very open to grow and to learn, but of course they have to observe their religion. So, but then there's this huge human power that can be utilized. And she's saying like, I'm not here to be the eternal bridge. I want to just construct the relationship, and once they are good to go, I leave them and then I move to another project.
Yeah, fantastic. That's really important work that she's doing. Where are you going from Israel?
We're going to India. So we are about to go. We are going to Mumbai and Bangalore because I think Mumbai would be nice. We were saying that Mumbai would be more like the financial, economic heart of India, and we're going to find a lot of traditional business and social enterprise. But then we cannot leave Bangalore as the tech hub of India.
Oh, India is an incredible hub for many businesses.
Many things. Yeah, we've never been there, so it's going to be our first time, and we are like very excited to go.
Oh, it's wonderful. How long will you be there for?
2 weeks or so, like more like 2 weeks, 20 days, 2 weeks and a half.
Okay, and then how much longer do you have on this project, traveling?
Well, after India, we go to Africa. So four countries in Africa. We're going to Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Rwanda. And we wrap up the interviews in late October. And then after that, we start working on putting together, the documentary. Everything will be a full-length documentary. The book, the web series, and other activities, regarding women entrepreneurship.
Amazing. So the movie should be out when?
That's
the first one. Sorry, the first one is the documentary.
The documentary, right? Exactly. Our goal is to have by late March, early April 2018. So we have a few months to work on that.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to see it, and very honored to be part of it.
Yeah, and people, people who are listening to us, and if they can go to our webpage on Facebook, The Girls on the Road, because we just posted a sneak peek of our first 5 countries, women, and telling about their stories a little bit, so you can have a sense of it.
Okay, great. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the show notes for the podcast to your site, to your Facebook page. Yeah. It's a page, right? Yeah. And also here on this recording. Okay, so thank you. Such a pleasure to meet you both. I'm going to say your names again. I hope not to. I'm looking at the thing, but Fernanda Mua and Tassiana Melo. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Coming out to the Strong Women's Club. What a pleasure.
Likewise.